After a 15-year absence, the much-loved Toyota Camry has finally returned to Irish shores. In fact, the last time you could buy a new Camry here, YouTube didn't even exist yet. So you'd more than likely be getting shown around this car by a Toyota salesperson at your local dealership rather than an internet stranger like me. But today I'm going to do my best to give you the lowdown from the comfort of your couch or your desk or wherever it is you might be. And if that's the kind of car research you enjoy, then now might be a good time to hit subscribe and stay up to date with all the latest new cars to hit the market. Okay, let's go. Another big development over the last 15 years has been the rise of the SUV. And people nowadays tend to forgo the traditional shape of what a car used to look like for a higher ride height and perceived extra space. But they're not always right there. And at 524 litres, the Camry can give most mid-size SUVs a good run for their money in terms of boot capacity. Sure enough, being a saloon, it's not as practical in some respects as a hatchback, but that is a fine boot nonetheless. There's a nice bit of width there for the golfers. You've got a couple of shopping bag hooks, and the back seats will fold flat at the pull of a lever, like so. When you get into the back then, space is also very generous. I have plenty of legroom behind my own seating position. I'm 5'6" for reference, or 167 centimetres depending on which side of the pond you're watching. And headroom is pretty good too. Width-wise, you will fit 3 back here, although the middle seat passenger will be slightly less comfortable thanks to this lump in the floor, although in fairness it is smaller than most. I also like the way this mat runs right the way across, making it easy to pull out for a quick vacuum. You've also got 2 USB ports, a pull-down centre armrest, door pockets, door bins. The seats are nice and comfy, and you've got a couple of Isofix anchors for child seats. So overall, a pretty nice place to be. The interior for me is one of the highlights of the new Camry. In fact, it is shockingly good, and that's having just come out of the new BMW 3 Series. Everything from the layout to the quality of the materials used is just top notch. There's some really useful storage areas and some really nice damping, which does give it a proper premium feel. As does the attention to detail, like these leather covers on the USB and charging ports. That is a real touch of class. And look, it looks like Toyota do know how to make an integrated infotainment system after all. And this just feels so much more cohesive than what's in the rest of the range. Now, the graphics do still have a bit of a Sega Mega Drive feel to them, but the functionality is great and it does everything you need it to with very little thought. It's also good to see a nice smattering of physical dials and buttons for the more urgent controls like aircon and volume. And it's even got a CD player if you want to play any of the tunes that you used to play in your last Camry. Irish buyers have a choice between 3 different types of Camry. Now, the first one doesn't get a special name, it's just the plain old Camry. But that plain old Camry does get an impressive list of equipment as standard, including alloy wheels and LED headlights, dual zone climate control, push button start, the touchscreen multimedia system with a reversing camera, parking sensors, and most impressively of all, a huge range of high-tech safety kits, including pre-collision warning with pedestrian detection, lane departure warning with steering assist, and automatic cruise control. That one starts at a little under €40,000, so it's not a cheap car, and in fairness, the Camry has always been the brand's luxury offering. So it seems to be more focused on tempting customers away from the premium brands, where it does look like good value, and convincing mid-market customers that the hybrid technology, Toyota build quality, equipment levels, and maybe even a little bit of nostalgia are worth spending the extra few quid on. Speaking of which, there's not a huge price walk to this mid-spec Sol model, which will add some sat-nav and these sumptuous leather heated seats with electric adjustment. Very tempting, especially if sat-nav is a requirement, because this Toyota Touch system is not yet compatible with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So it's a bit of a must really, unless you want to carry an Atlas around along with your CD collection. And it also adds this nice wood grain insert along the dashboard. Or you can go all out for the top of the range Platinum model for larger wheels, upgraded interior styling, wireless phone charging, and some additional safety kit like blind spot monitoring. Much like Henry Ford once told his Model T customers that you can have any colour you want as long as it's black, Toyota are saying the same with the new Camry, in that you can have any powertrain you want as long as it's this 2.5 litre hybrid. Much like the system in the new Lexus ES300H, the new Camry now runs off a combination of a 2.5 litre petrol engine and an electric motor to help keep emissions down and offer much better fuel economy than the old 2.4 litre petrol could ever dream of. In fact, the combined WLTP tested fuel economy figure for this model is 5.3 litres per 100 kilometres, or about 53 miles to the gallon in old money. As with most hybrids, those figures are harder to achieve on the motorway, but for the most part, the fuel saving made around town and in built-up areas helps to even that out, and I have been achieving a respectably close 6 litres per 100 over a week of very mixed driving and including plenty of longer spins. It's got a combined power output of 218 brake horsepower, so acceleration is pretty quick, although you do still get a bit of a groan if you put your foot down too hard. But in fairness, that is a noise that is getting quieter and quieter with each new generation of Toyota hybrid, and in reality it's not such a big deal because it only happens when you accelerate hard, and good sound insulation means that for the most part this cabin is a very peaceful place to be. Now, I've got a confession to make. Unfortunately, I actually never had the pleasure of driving the old Camry, so I won't be able to provide a direct comparison on how it drives versus the old one. But what I can say is that it is still somehow exactly what I expected it to be, which is extremely comfortable, nice and relaxing, and with that solid, sturdy Toyota feel to the handling. There's a really nice sense of balance to the car. It's got a nice low centre of gravity thanks to clever distribution of those hybrid components with the batteries tucked away under the back seats. And there's a well-weighted feeling to both the steering and the suspension that makes it feel very sure-footed going into corners. Now, it's still not what you'd call exciting to drive, and to be honest, I kind of expected that too, because the same can be said for most of its front-wheel drive rivals, hybrid or not, in that it's just much more focused on the comfort and wafting around in luxury while listening to your CDs. And in fairness, it is a very pleasant place to waft around in. So that is the Toyota Camry 2K19. Still a comfortable and most likely very reliable family cruiser, only now with special hybrid powers and lots of new technology. But is this latest incarnation worthy of the nameplate? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you'd like to see more like it every Wednesday.